Whoa! Look where we are. I'm in a car. I'm gonna do a so-called tinkering video. Now I've had a few requests to do some more videos other than what I've been doing, so I have got to fix this car. Now this is a Jaguar. Yes, it is. Yes, a few of these videos have been requested now. And even the Ibasiac has requested another tinkering video. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to fix this car. It's a Jag, it's the X-Type, and well, it's actually the wife's, but I paid for it, so technically it's mine. Yeah, it's got a problem. There's a few problems with it actually, but the main one, which is annoying me, is when we turn it on, it's going to be on the cold start, so it's going to be cold, so it'll probably do it. It should have a high revs anyway, but the idle is about 2,000, which is very wrong. So let's start it up and see what happens. Actually misfired a little bit. It is actually misfiring a little bit. Yep. That ain't right. Average fuel consumption 22.1. Let's have a look. That's average miles per gallon, sorry. Yeah, the revs are going all over the place, look. It's going down now. Temperature outside is 13 degrees. Average miles per gallon. Average speed 22, 120,000. Blah blah. Range 41 miles. Oh, nearly had petrol. Average fuel 22.1 miles per gallon. Sweet. It's because I've been driving it and I have my foot planted down all the time. Yeah, the revs are, well, they're not right. Mainly when it gets hot, the revs go funny. So I'm just going to take the idle control valve out, give it an oil up, and all that kind of stuff. So let's go and get it on the driveway and open it up, shall we? Just a side note, by the way, that is actually like the revs that it's at now, just under 1,000, is actually the choke, like the cold start. They don't have a choke nowadays because it's fuel injection, but the that's the cold start like thing, because all engines are revved more when they're cold because they try to warm them up quicker and to get the oil pumping around if it's colder. So that is actually where it should be. When it was at about 1,500, that's the problem. And when it gets hotter, the idle's typically about 2,000, which to me, it's either, because what can happen is, I've had it before, there was the thermostat sensor, temperature sensor, air filter, mass flow sensor. Sensors are everywhere and they can give false readings to the ECU. Now, if they give a false reading to the ECU, it like confuses it, and strange noise, and because it gets confused, it just does strange things. But it could also be the ICV getting stuck or just faulty altogether, not reading where the throttle actually is, like what position it's in. I meant the throttle position sensors not reading what position the throttle's in. Or the idle control valve's just sticky or faulty, so it's making the idle go higher. Yeah, I didn't mean to confuse you with that. Got myself confused for a minute. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get some tools now and we'll take it apart. But that's on the choke at the minute. That should, as it warms up, that should go down. It should go down. I don't think it will because it ain't working right, but it should do. But we'll see what happens. Right, here we are. As you can see, we've got sensors all over the place on that inlet manifold. Now this isn't helping. It wasn't me that done this. It was already like it when I bought the car. But somebody's obviously broken the little plug for the throttle position sensor, and so they've put some crimps on there with some wires, and they've like sort of jammed those other crimps into the sensor where there should be a plug on there, like one of those little plugs with the wires going in. Should be one on there, but a 3-pronged one. Obviously that's broken, so they've sort of hot wired it in. Now that is all good because it means it'll work, but
there'll be some calibration issues and things like that. But I don't think that's the issue. I don't think that's why it's doing it. I think now this to me seems like the ICV perhaps. I haven't done any research on this particular engine, so I don't actually know. But I'll soon find out when I take it apart. I'm going to take those bolts out, take that connector off, and we'll take that out. It's got a gasket in there, but it should be okay. But I reckon it should be, because the throttle goes in there, throttle body will be in there, plate will be in there, so I reckon that should be it in there. So we'll find out, we'll take it off and see what happens. Alright, got the little bolts out, taking it off, and it is quite surprising, it is quite sooty in there. I wasn't expecting that, to be sooty in there. The only reason I can think of that is because of all the, there must be a bloody breather going in there somewhere. What's this, look? Is that a breather? Looks like a breather to me. Coming off the top of the rocker cover. Breather's coming up, going in there. Bit of soot. Yep. So, but yeah, bit sooty in there, so I'm going to give it a clean out, give it a spray with a bit of degreaser and then a bit of WD-40 and clean it out with a rag, and we'll put it back. Giving it a little bit of a clean, can't really get much in there, but if you want to know how it works, basically you've got the throttle there, and if you look in that gap, it's visible, there's not enough light going in there for the camera to see, I don't think. No. But there's like a rod what goes in there, which is this throttle goes in there, and there's like a little plate in there, and when that's in this position, which is closed, there's no air getting through it, so this little valve here comes up there through the valve down and into the inlet, goes around. Yeah, so at least it's a very simple design, different design to the other ones I've seen, but this little plunger. So I've given it a clean, sprayed a load of WD-40 in there, which is good stuff, WD-40. I used carb spray to clean it, WD-40 to lubricate it, so it shouldn't be getting stuck anymore. There's a little bit of residue in there, but when I turn it upside down it will come out. I'm going to clean the gasket and put it back, and we'll see what happens. Back on, back together, see what happens. See what happens then, I don't know. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Better, isn't it? It's rising though. I'll have to let it get up to temperature. It's got enough water in it, is it? It's never good, is it? The pulley's a little bit noisy. It's going to be a pain in the arse to change that. Seems to be idling alright now though. It's been running now for about 10 minutes. Still a little bit higher than I was expected to be, or than I would like it to be. But it isn't at 2000 anymore. It's probably near enough. It's probably getting quite warm. Should be near enough at running. Oh, it's nowhere near running temperature. It's not cold anymore. Don't put it that way. It's about. It's ticking over at about. I'd say that was about 900. I'd say. Can I reach the? I can't reach the throttle from here. Let's do it out here instead. Ooh. Yes, it's at a better speed than what it was at.
I'll have to go for a drive and get it really hot.
That noisy pulley down there is bugging me now though. It is quite noisy. I think that's the water pump. That'll be a pain in the arse. Well, actually it won't be, I'll take the battery out. Yeah, that won't be that bad.
Still needs a bit of water in there, though, still a bit low.
Never mind. Well, at least I'll fix that. We'll see what happens when I go for a drive.
Nah, I'm still not convinced. It should be down at about, well, it should be about sort of 600-ish. I'd like to see it on the 500. I'd like to see it on that fat line there. That's where I'd like to see it. That's where it was before anyway. Nice and low. It's too high at the minute, but I'm going to go for a drive, give it a blast, and see. I might take the. Let's try. I'm going to take the idle control valve off actually. Not the idle control valve. The throttle position sensor. I think. Might give that a clean out, just to see. Right, I've just had a little fiddle about with a little nut, a little bolt, sorry. And I've got it down to about there, which is probably about right, to be honest with you. That's probably about right. Give it a rev and make sure it goes back to that same place. Yeah, I reckon that's about right there. See what happens when I get it nice and hot, but I think that's about right. Right, let's pack everything up and go for a small drive. Some rubbish in there, alright? Don't know what I'm going to find. I might find some rubbish. Well, I've just been for a drive, about 20-minute drive, to get it nice and warm, and it's actually raining so much. I've had the window open and I've got soaked. It's actually raining everywhere. Yeah. I'd still think it's a little bit higher. I mean, I can't remember where it used to be, but I'm sure it used to be lower than that, and it's still quite loud inside. But it's lower than what it was, and it hasn't yet gone all funny and hopped up to 2000. So it seems by cleaning that ICV, as I thought was the problem anyway, from previous experience on many cars, mainly that Saxo I had, the VTR. You know, the ICVs, they do get stuck and sticky and clunk up. That's what they do, man. It's just, they're just a little plunger, you know. They do a little plunger, as you saw, a little plunger that goes backwards and forwards, and you know, if that don't get lubricated, it's just gonna get stuck in it. So every now and again, put a bit of oil on it is what I do, and this needed that. So I think a combination of oiling that up and cleaning that up and adjusting, there's like a little bolt on the stop plate what stops the throttle going all the way back, and so I adjusted that. I opened it, I loosened it a little bit, so it opened the little thing up a little bit. So now when the throttle's closed, it closes a little bit more basically, because that bolt keeps the throttle plate open a little bit. So it just closes it a little bit, and it seems a combination of those two has sort of fixed it. I mean, it has risen a little bit now, but the only way I'll find out if it's fixed it is to just drive it and see what happens. I mean, it wouldn't do it all the time, but the other day when I was out, it was at 2000 tick over all the time. So there you go, my friends.